So we talked a lot about different things. Now there are just a bunch of diets out there, and they're all are beneficial in many different ways. But essentially, they all have the same thing in common. So you may hear things like the paleo diet, plant-based, vegan diet, high carb diet, low carb diet, keto, intermittent fasting, eating small foods frequently, eat large meals infrequently. They all accomplish one thing. They raise your nutrition awareness, which is good because now you're paying attention to what food you're eating, no matter what diet you choose. They focus on food quality, and we talked about that before, having nutrient dense foods. They eliminate nutrient deficiencies. They help control your appetite and food intake by getting on a regular schedule. And then they promote exercise. One thing that some things to think about. Most popular diets actually have more in common than you think. All right. So we have our paleo diet, our fully plant-based, our Mediterranean, our keto, our low-fat diet. They all emphasize whole food. Okay, so if you're going on a plant-based diet, you're eating whole food. If you're going on a paleo diet, you're eating whole food. If you're only eating protein and you're eliminating other things, then you're eating whole food. Most of them, aside from plant-based, gets a lot of high quality food, protein. All right, we have to be, but someone that's eating fully plant-based has to be really mindful of how much protein you're getting in the diet. They incorporate a lot of vegetables. All diets have a lot of vegetables in them. They prioritize high nutrient density. We talked a lot about that, and then obviously eat slow until you feel satisfied. And all of these minimize processed foods. So no matter what diet you go to, you're eating whole food. You're getting rid of processed food, and you're also getting on an eating schedule and being mindful of what you're eating. So they all have its benefits. Now, good marketing versus bad marketing. Okay, what is good for you? What is not good for you? So now here's reading between the lines. We want to take a look at some food labels and understand some of these buzzwords that we're hearing out there in the nutrition world. So we have ingredients, nutritional information, serving sizes, best before date. Okay, where the food comes from, and how to use and store the product. So this is what you're going to get on a food label. So legally, they have to have different types of things on here. Everything that I said, they have to have the nutrition fact, they have to have the calories, total fat, all that stuff. Just because it has 100 calories doesn't mean it's serving you. All right. So these are some things that we need to be aware of. We also have the ingredients in it. All right, that we need to take a look at. So my advice to you is eat whole foods. You're not going to see a food label on a head of lettuce or broccoli or even an apple. Okay, so there's nothing in it. It's just an apple. So keeping that in mind, when you go to the food store, shop around the perimeter. The perimeter has all of the real food. Okay, if you are getting foods with labels on it, read the ingredients on the back, and then make sure that you're understanding what's in there. We talked a lot about for day one, which ones have high in sugar and which ones don't. Ingredients should be real. If you can't identify two or more ingredients, it's most likely not good for you. Chances are that it's processed or it contains natural ingredients, or they have those hidden buzzwords in there that actually means sugar. So we need to be mindful of that. All right, so problem terms. We have natural juice, organic, gluten-free, fat-free, can help lower cholesterol, made with real honey or cocoa, whole grains, good source of fiber, and this list will go on and on. We need to avoid making decisions based on the front of the label. Skinny pop. Skinny is a buzzword that was created in the 70s that made everyone want to think, okay, well, I need to lose weight. I want to look skinny. All right. That is something that is inhuman. Okay. We need to look the way that we need to look. What are we genetically made to look like? So when you put that word skinny pop on it, you automatically think, oh, I'm going to have popcorn and it's going to make me skinny. That's not the case. Okay. We need to make sure that we're reading labels and we're not falling for these labels that have different buzzwords on them. For example, heart healthy. Everyone thinks Cheerios is heart healthy. I'm going to argue and say that this is unhealthy. This is actually causing more heart damage than you think. So the American Heart Association endorsed these products. All right. So Cocoa Puffs, Campbell's Soup, Welch's nearly has 40 grams of sugar. Cheerios, whole grain, all this cornstarch, sugar, that all has all these hidden words that just mean sugar. right? And now we're overdoing it. So if we're having a box of Cheerios, this is a refined carbohydrates. That's what I was talking about with processing. Doesn't matter if you can go to Trader Joe's and it'll say whole grain or organic cereal. Organic means like from the earth. So you took the cereal from the ground and put it into the box. That's not the way it works. All right. So they use organic products to begin with, but then they processed it and put it in a box. That's how they can legally say this product is organic. So just because your food bar says organic whatever bar doesn't mean that it's healthy for you. So we need to make sure that we understand some of these buzzwords and read between the lines and make sure that we're reading those food labels. Gluten-free. Okay, now gluten, we understand, some of us may understand how bad gluten is, okay, but other foods, well, it really is trying to avoid that sugar, so you want to make sure that you decrease your sugar insulin spike. Okay, now I know it's a little bit more. So this is where we need to refer back to that list: whole grain corn, cornmeal, sugar, honey, salt, brown sugar. All of these things are going to raise your sugar levels in your blood system, which is going to have that negative effect within your body. So we need to be mindful of that as well. Organic cereal, as I was saying before on my rant. Organic, whole grain, rolled oats, cane sugar, crisp brown, all of these mean sugar. Doesn't matter what you put it in. Okay, it looks great. Okay, it's nicely packaged. It looks like it's healthy, but essentially it's just a highly sugar carbohydrate diet. So we want to be mindful of how much sugar we're putting into our diet. This is not going to help us. Then we have artificial sweeteners. Okay, Splenda, stevia, agave, all of these things are going to act exactly like sugar does. So we want to be mindful of how much we're putting into our system. It increases your blood sugar levels, it spikes your insulin levels, and it could cause type 2 diabetes, different types of cancers, different Alzheimer's, and also obesity are all linked. So just because it's stevia doesn't mean that your body's not going to respond exactly the same as sugar. All right, so this is where we start to overdo it. And instead of storing this energy source as glucose, it's going to store this energy source as fat. And over time, it leads to obesity, type 2 diabetes. The system just shuts itself down because it's just too much to handle. And again, sugary drinks, we need to be mindful of that. 31 grams of sugar here. We have 34 grams of sugar here, 39 grams in a Coca-Cola. So easy way to get rid of the amount of sugar that in your diet is to pay attention to what you drink and drink more water. Okay, so as we start to wrap this up, I know there's a lot of information and it's like, where do I begin? Some people are in our journey and eating healthy. Some of us are just starting. Okay, so my advice to you, if you're not sure, is always come to me and reach out to me, but keep it very simple for yourself. Okay, we are a species that needs easy. All right, so my advice to you is a lot of this is overwhelming. To do too much too soon, you might fail. All right, so my advice to you is start simply and just start with one thing, even if it's just drinking more water in your diet. Okay, so eat whole foods, real foods. Try to avoid. Sorry, I just freaked out a little bit. I'm looking outside and there was a cat that just like stared at me. Like, oh God. All right. So eat whole foods. We want to make sure we're eating real food. Shop the perimeter if that's your best bet. Read the ingredients on the back of labels. Make sure they are listed in order of ingredient quantity. So if it says almonds, then it says sugar. It has more almonds than it does sugar. Ingredients should be real. If you can't identify the food label, then it's probably not good for you. All right. And the last thing I will say is sleep and recovery. Okay, so we want to sleep 7 hours, up to 7 hours or more in the nighttime. Keep your routine safe. I know this doesn't have. Some of us don't think, oh, what does this have to do with nutrition? But your body's growing and repairing overnight. So it's very important that you give your body the rest that it needs. No caffeine after 2 p.m. Limit the amount of liquids before bedtime. No screen time. Keep your room temperature between 62 to 68. Lights are out by 10 p.m. complete darkness, wake up without an alarm, invest in a good pillow, track quantity and quality. So tying all of this together, we talked about mindset, we talked about exercise, and we talked about food. So here's what I would say to be overall healthy. Give me a second, bud. Sorry, my son just came outside. I know, Putty just scared me, but okay, give me a second. I'm almost done. Sorry. I'm actually surprised that it lasted this long without them jumping in here. Okay. So tying it all together, mindset, the lens which you see the world. We want to make sure that we're living a positive mindset. Sleep and recovery. Okay, we want to make sure that we are getting plenty of rest. Drinking plenty of water. Babe, babe. Eat quality food and exercise 3 to 5 times per week. And again, as we wrap this up, if you have any questions, please give them to Arlie and I will answer them. I am forever your coach. Even if you get my contact information in email, I will always answer an email about any questions that you may have about anything that we discuss. All right. So I hope that this is helpful and helps you live a longer, healthier lifestyle. Enjoy.